my haircut today.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I can't tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with my hair back and the headphones and this thing in front of my face and whatnot. But yeah, I just needed to get it trimmed.
You look sexy with your hair pushed back. I mean, are we just jumping right in this week? Do we have any hot goss to talk about?
I have nothing.
I don't really either, other than we really need reviews if you're so inclined. We would love a good review, a 5-star rating. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, you don't even have to rate that much.
Some of them you don't even have to rate at all. Spotify doesn't let you rate anything. You just got to do stars.
Yeah, if you would do that.
Wait, have you not rated us on Spotify?
No, I have. Like I just forgot.
Okay.
No.
I was like, wait.
I've given us 5 stars everywhere. You know who hasn't? Kelsey. Yeah.
Kels Aroni.
I know. And
I think Mom has tried.
You should just get Mom's phone and do it.
Okay, I will. And for those who have, thank you so much.
Yeah, especially the people who don't actually know us who did it. That's shocking, frankly.
Okay, well, let's just dive right into this week's topic. Sid, you might already have an idea of what I'm doing because I sent you a couple clips. But for the listeners, today we're discussing what I believe is the most iconic sock puppet of all time. And also the only puppeteer ventriloquist act that doesn't give me the creeps.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We are talking about Lamb Chop, or Chop Lamb, as Sid used to call her, which is the best.
Chop Lamb. I mean,
Chop Lamb.
Either way, it's a ridiculous name.
Chop, lamb.
Chop the lamb.
We're not only going to talk about Lamb Chop's impact on our childhood, but the ways Lamb Chop.
That made it really upsetting. Different tone.
Sorry, this is not a true crime podcast. I went true crime with it. We're also going to talk about how Lamb Chop still influences us today. Oh my gosh, I can't talk.
I am really I'm sorry, that just sounded like a school presentation. Especially with the nervous stammering, and I'm fascinated to know how Lamb Chop still affects me at 31.
I'm going to tell you about it awkwardly and badly.
No, you're off to a great start.
Thank you. Let's just roll into trivia right away. Sid.
Uh-huh.
How old is Lamb Chop? And I'm not talking about how long she's been around.
Oh, but the character's canonical age.
Yes.
6.
You're right.
Oh, man.
She
Look
is
at all this
6
knowledge.
years old. Yes, you knew. I will say in the Don't Wake Your Mom special, which we will talk about later, they say Lamb Chop is 3. So there are some discrepancies here, but the internet and Sherry's daughter say 6. And in a HuffPost article, Mallory Lewis, who is Sherry Lewis's daughter, says, quote, Lamb Chop is 6. She is forever 6, but she lies about her age just like everyone else in Hollywood.
Oh, Lamb Chop. There's nothing to be ashamed about.
No, aging is great.
Anyway.
Moving on. I found this super interesting. Lamb Chop holds a military title. So what branch of the military did she receive this from?
Maybe she is Chop Lamb. Okay, what? I don't know. Army?
No, the Marines.
Oh, Semper Fi, Lamb Chop.
Semper Fi, Lamb Chop. So Lieutenant General Tom Conant, I'm so sorry, Deputy Commander of the Pacific for the Marines, made her a 3-star general.
I don't know how many stars there are, but that's impressive. And
that is a good point.
Also, that is the most American shit, where we take a children's show 6-year-old lamb toy and we're like, you're now part of the Marines. Here's a gun, Lamb Chop.
Well, funny you should say that, because At the end of, I'm jumping ahead just a little bit here, but do you remember at the end of Don't Wake Your Mom, they have a little birthday celebration for Lamb Chop and they show a clip of one of her first acts with Sherry. It's in black and white, and the bit is that Lamb Chop has been drafted. Do you remember that?
I don't. I was so little. It's in that place of both surprising but also not, you know?
Not surprised.
Yeah, it's a weird dichotomy.
Yes. So there you go. Salute Lamb Chop when you see her next. Okay, last trivia question. What are Lamb Chop's friends named and what kind of animals are they? Her two main friends.
Is there a cow?
No. A farm animal, though.
A pig?
No.
A horse?
Yes.
Okay. So that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Named Princess Nene.
Fortunately, no.
Okay. What is a rooster, maybe?
The other one is a very common house pet.
A dog.
Yes.
Named Borkles.
No.
Who is also a war
I thought
criminal.
You would know these.
Riley, I think you underestimate how little I was when I watched Lamb Chop.
I guess I did. Okay, so yes, Charlie Horse is the horse, as you
That's pretty
probably
good.
guessed. And Hush Puppy is the dog or puppy.
That's like one of those names that it's going to be embarrassing when he gets older. Like
This is true.
when people name their kids something really cute, but then you're like, that's not going to work when they're like 40.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example of that. I'm thinking the opposite of when people name their kids like Urkel or like Edwin or something like that. That's like an
Susan.
old name.
Like, how do you look at a baby and you're like, Susan,
Linda.
Linda?
Remember that part in Kimmy Schmidt where he was dating a guy who had a baby named Linda? And that was like a deal breaker for him.
That's a good, honestly, though.
I mean, you're not wrong. And then, oh, that's right. And then Titus goes to some office and he talks to like all the Lindas in HR and asks them if it's weird if the baby's named Linda. And it turns out none of them were actually named that at birth, I believe.
They just changed
like,
it for the HR.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good show. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Kimmy Schmidt this time. Lamb Chop's puppeteer, as some of you may know, Sherry Lewis, was born on January 17th, 1933 in New York. And she showed a talent for ventriloquism at a young age. And I just really like to know what that looks like exactly.
I feel like it looks like the start of a horror movie. Like the line between this turning into a heartwarming story or this becoming like The Omen, I feel like it really could go either way depending on the background
thin.
Music.
Yeah. Yes. Her father was actually an illusionist and hired a coach to help her develop the skills. So whatever signs she was showing is an illusion. Oh, gob.
You're tired of my illusions, Dad.
Oh, Arrested Development, everyone. Okay. So Sherry not only becomes a ventriloquist, but also a puppeteer. She was a children's entertainer, a television show host, a dancer, a singer, actress, author, and symphony conductor.
I didn't see that last one coming.
I did not see that last one coming either. She apparently conducted symphonies in the US, Japan, and Canada. Like, she was the real deal.
That's also such a weird spread.
Yeah. But clearly, I mean, an entertainer.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
like an artistic type person. And she accomplished more than I ever will.
Yeah.
Ever.
Same.
Go Sherry. She wrote over 60 children's books and produced 17 home videos. She was incredibly passionate about creating educational and engaging content for children. And we'll talk more about that later. Lamb Chop officially got her start on Captain Kangaroo in 1957. Neither you or I were around for that.
Mm-mm.
And she also made appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show. Again, I heard of it, sort of know what it is, wasn't around for it. Then came the Sherry Lewis show, which ran from 1960 to 1963. And our favorite special, Don't Wake Your Mom, came out in 1989, the year I was born.
Ooh.
And then after that, maybe you might remember this one a little bit more. Lamb Chops Play Along ran on PBS from 1992, the year you were born, to 1997.
Yeah, just because I was so little, I remember clips, but I don't remember. I remember sitting in front of the TV and watching, but I don't remember a ton. Just because, once again, I mean, 92 to 96 would have been me from like 0 to 4. And I know it probably ran after that, but still, just for context, like I was real little. I remember, was the Don't Wake Your Mom, was that the one that had thunder? Because that one did scare me.
Yes, during one of the stories she tells. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't really like that because it scared me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see why. It was the Rip Van Winkle story she tells. That one was a really weird one.
Oh yeah, no, I hate that one too. Both of those kind
Yeah.
of scared me. I didn't actually like.
Well, the thunder was in the Rip Van Winkle story.
Okay, that's maybe why. I have a lot of anxiety when it thunders.
Oh my gosh, did Lamb Chop actually break you? And here I'm like, this is the best thing in the world.
Lamb Chop might have, because I kind of have a little anxiety thinking, like I don't have the fondest memories of Lamb Chop.
Well, maybe we can change that.
Maybe.
Maybe we can turn it around.
I just, like, in theory, I think the stuff, like seeing stuffed animals of Lamb Chop is cute, but puppets kind of scare me. And also, whenever I think of Lamb Chop, I think of the uncomfortable and scared feelings I had during that story.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. I don't know where to go from there. I didn't know it would be traumatic. I'm like, yay, this is going to be a fun, light episode. We're going to have so many good memories.
The truth is revealed.
Mom, why did you let her watch this? She was too young. She was too young for Lamb Chop.
Also, Mom was really the one who probably made me afraid of just puppets and clowns and things like that. So why did she let me watch this?
Well, these are cute puppets, though.
They all scare me. I just don't like the idea that there's like an adult hiding and manipulating them. It just feels like I'm going to be molested.
So I watched an episode of Lamb Chop's Play Along.
Okay.
And I watched Don't Wake Your Mom, the whole thing. I have in my notes, I want to hear some of your memories first. But I guess we already went there, and I guess I don't.
A lot of anxiety about puppets. A lot of puppet-based fear.
Oh, no. Well, the idea behind Don't Wake Your Mom is a very heartwarming and nice one. So the gist of it is that Sherry and her puppet pals are entertaining you, the viewer, for 45 minutes so that your mom or whoever can get some sleep. And this has some fairly good special effects for 1989, I thought. It starts, and sorry, I hope I don't trigger you, but it starts with Sherry is like laying in bed sleeping, and she sits up in bed and actually moves away from her sleeping self.
Creepy. Continue.
Oh my gosh. She dresses in what I can only describe as a Blanche Devereaux-esque outfit. It is very Golden Girls, and I love it.
That's not scary. That's good. Okay.
Truly, you should look up what she is wearing and Don't Wake Your Mom, because it's like sherbet colored. It's very like pink and orange, and it's got like a sash. I'm pretty sure Blanche Devereaux did wear that during an episode of Golden Girls.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. I'm just having trouble seeing my notes.
Yeah, it's a lovely outfit.
Right?
Oh, and there's that creepy baby puppet. I don't trust it.
The baby puppet has some of the best bits, but it did, as an adult, kind of creep me out. I was like, oh, I don't really remember it being so weird looking. That's It Tastes Like Chocolate.
Oh my God.
That's the baby.
I haven't said that in like 10 years, but now I remember how I was obsessed with saying that.
You were. That was the baby, because she or it or whatever it was sucking their thumb, and Sherry kept telling her not to suck her thumb because it tastes like
Chocolate.
chocolate.
Okay, that's a good memory. That's a good memory.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Okay, we're getting back on track. We can still save this episode. So Sherry in her lovely outfit sings songs, tells stories, some that traumatize children, and most importantly, reminds you not to wake your mom. My favorite part as a kid was the puppet baby. Tastes like chocolate. We already went over that. And then Charlie Horse actually practices a magic trick and makes Lamb Chop disappear for a little bit. I keep asking you, do you remember that? And it's getting old, but
I don't. I'm sorry.
okay. You just let me know if something else sounds familiar. How about that?
Yeah. I think you should have sent me more clips, and maybe that would have triggered some more
I
memories.
should have. I make assumptions that, like, oh, you're going to remember most of this stuff. And I should probably just like communicate with you.
No, well, I think that it's because as adults, our age isn't that far apart. But when you're
Mhm.
looking at our childhood, when you are thinking of things from maybe being 7, you have to remember that I was like 3, maybe 4.
And you have a much better memory from our childhood, though. Like, you remember more. So I think that's part of it, too, is I just assume that you're going to remember no matter what age you were.
Like, why don't you remember your first birthday, you ungrateful bitch?
Dummy.
Dumb baby.
It's like mom would always say to us, you guys don't remember anything I did for you.
We do remember the trauma, though.
That's how it works. That's why trauma is so hard to get past. Listen, our parents were great. It makes it sound like we had this big traumatic childhood.
We didn't, but mom did. Maybe we'll have to talk about Oprah sometime.
I just didn't want to make it sound like we grew up in a...
Abusive household.
Yes, exactly, because we certainly did not. Oh, this is not going how I thought it was going to go. Okay. There was a bit that had me laughing during my rewatch where Lamb Chop forgets the song she was going to sing, and it turns into a bit between her and Sherry about her horrible memory, ironically, like mine. At one point, Lamb Chop actually forgets her own name and refers to herself as Pork Chop and Chop Liver.
Okay, this one I remember.
Okay. And then she asks Sherry what her name is, and Sherry tells her to concentrate. And Lamb Chop says, concentrate? What kind of name is concentrate? And it was just a really good, like, back and forth bit between them. She was so talented.
Yeah. See, I think the scary memory definitely stuck, but you talking about I do remember liking these bits now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's coming back.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop actually testified before Congress in 1993 to fight for local broadcasters to carry educational children's programming.
Ooh, that's awesome. I love that.
It is, and I love that Lamb Chop was there too, testifying, because that had to have been the first and probably the last time that's ever happened that a puppet has testified in Congress. I didn't really look that up.
I could see puppets testifying for the murders they've likely committed.
But Sherry was really passionate about that, and there were regulations in place as far as broadcasters had to include certain amounts of educational programming, but what the broadcasters were trying to do was pass off programs like the Jetsons as it's teaching kids how they're going to live in the future. And they were really trying to like skirt around those regulations so that they could just essentially play what had the best ratings. And I thought that was cool that Sherry was like, no, I can't remember her exact quote, but she essentially was like, it's not that hard to make something educational and engaging for kids that they like.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say now there are so many programs built around that it's really funny that there was pushback against it.
Mm-hmm. But again, it's ratings. Yeah. I'm sure they just didn't want to change because they thought, oh, kids don't want to learn. They just want to be entertained, and you can't do both at the same time. Little lady.
Oh.
I bet they called her little lady.
Would they say that to a corporal, though? What was that? Was Lamb Chop a corporal?
A 3-star general?
A 3-star general? I wonder if Lamb Chop has a gun.
I don't know. Where would she keep it?
In the puppet hole?
Don't the puppet hole. Stop it. This is a joyful experience, or it's supposed to be. You stop it.
Got you right in the puppet hole.
Moving on, Sherry sold the rights to Lamb Chop to DreamWorks, actually, but her daughter, Mallory, who I mentioned before, owns the live performing rights. Sherry did pass away in 1998. She developed pneumonia while being treated for uterine cancer.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That is really sad. I didn't realize she passed away so long ago.
she was only in her 60s.
That's really sad.
It is really sad.
But it seems like she's had a legacy and an impact.
Oh my gosh, like, yeah, just an amazing performer. And especially, I think, especially for a woman at that time, too. Like, she had her own show, she had several of her own shows. Pretty amazing lady. And among many, many awards, she actually won 12 Emmys and a Peabody.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, she's not messing around, but there was a
No.
whole list of awards on her Wikipedia page.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Her daughter Mallory and Lamb Chop still perform for audiences and charities today,
Aw.
including the military.
Oh, lamb chop.
Interestingly enough, Mallory says they perform mostly for adult audiences. Not that the show is like raunchy or inappropriate, but it seems to be more of a nostalgia thing.
That's interesting. I guess kids aren't in a puppet phase right now.
Yeah,
It'll
I
come
guess
back.
not.
It'll come back. I feel like that's kind of true with the Muppets. Like, I feel like most people who are into the Muppets now are adults.
Very true. I was just trying to think of current kids shows that have puppets. I'm sure there are some, but I don't think they're very common.
I mean, you have two kids and you can't think of one. So I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. You can also find them doing videos on TikTok.
Ooh.
So that's how Lamb Chop is still influencing. Did you get the TikTok video I sent you of her bit with Lamb Chop where she was drunk?
No.
Oh, damn it. Well, if you get a chance,
Yeah, I will.
because that was a really funny one. And that was a Sherry Lewis bit too. It was obviously a more adult show, but it
Yeah.
was really funny. And the reason I came across that is because I was on Mallory's TikTok and she talked about how she did a recent show and she did like a lamb chop being drunk bit. And this woman came up to her afterwards and was like, "Your mother would be so ashamed." And she was like, "Lady, my mom wrote that bit."
Like, that's great. Sorry, the door just opened and it freaked me out. It's just the cat.
Oh, I was like, you might want to investigate that.
You just hear a
That might be
scream
something
and then
you
a
wanna look
puppet
into.
emerges.
So, looking at it through today's lens, some of the information is obviously outdated, but I did watch it with the girls. I watched one episode of the Lamb Chops play along, and then we watched Don't Wake Your Mom because that's the one I remember most.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at how it still captured their attention. Like my youngest immediately grabbed a pen and paper to play one of the games that Sherry demonstrated in the episode of Lamb Chops Play Along.
That's so cute.
And I thought that was really cute. I actually thought I had lost her because she just kind of wandered off and went over to the table and was drawing. And I thought, well, it's fine. And then she brought her paper back over to me and she had done exactly what Sherry had just demonstrated. So I thought that was cool.
That's really cute. Do you think do you think they'll watch more Lamb Chop? Or
I
your
bet
littlest
they
will?
would. Yeah, and even though the quality obviously wasn't great, I mean, you can see like the tracking. We had to watch it on YouTube, but I mean, even my oldest thought Lamb Chop was hilarious and super adorable. She loved it every time she came on screen because sometimes it'll just be Sherry
Mm-hmm.
showing you an activity or it'll be some of the other puppets. And as soon as Lamb Chop would come back on, she'd be like, "Oh, okay, thank goodness." Like, she's like, "I love Lamb Chop."
Lamb
that
Chop,
was
I will
cute.
say, because I do, puppets generally kind of creep me out. I'm okay with some of the Muppets, but I do think Lamb Chop is very cute, puppet wise.
Lamb Chop is
Like,
super
they
cute,
did a
and
good
her little
job.
voice.
Her little voice.
Yeah, she is one of the cuter puppets. They did a silly knock knock joke bit, and that was a hit with the girls. There's also a part in Don't Wake Your Mom where Sherry's teaching you kind of how to tell time
Mm-hmm.
in a fun way. And Lamb Chop says, "The big hand is pointing to my nose and the little hand is pointing to my belly button." And my
Oh, I remember
youngest,
that.
okay, good. Good. Yeah, my youngest has been saying that all the time. And in fact, now when I say, "What time is it?" she'll like smirk and she'll say that.
That's so cute.
It's
I
really cute.
I think it'd be really cute with these things in the future to ask them for like a one sentence review.
Oh, I should have.
It would be adorable to get both of their like little brief reviews to tack onto
That's a
these
really
things.
good idea. Yeah. Oh, I should have. I was genuinely surprised that they both liked it. Not necessarily my youngest. I thought my oldest might kind of think, oh, this is sort of for littler kids.
Yeah, I figured she would too. It's cool that, I mean, it's from the 50s, right? I know some of these, I guess, are more from like the 90s and whatnot, but I mean, that's still 20, 30 years ago. 30 years ago,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really cool that it still has its lamb chop magic.
Yeah. Still has some relevance, I think. And well, yeah, the character started in the 50s. These shows were in the 90s, the ones that I showed the girls and the ones you and I watched. And now she's on TikTok doing her thing.
That's awesome. I do think it's really sweet that she's carried on her mom's work.
Yeah, I think it is too. Something I didn't write down is I was looking into like what Lamb Chop's up to today, other than being on TikTok and, performing for live
Uh-huh.
audiences. And there's this website, I think it's called like Lamb Chop Loves America.
What?
And it's like a school education program where she teaches you about like American history.
That's fantastic. I love that. Lamb Chop knows so much. She's so accomplished. She's only 6.
I know. Wow, what a talent.
Yeah, you need to tell your littlest to step it up. She has no military acolytes yet. Like, come on.
Lamb Chop 6 and she did it.
What's holding you back?
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
Good. Good.
I believe Mallory, again, that's Sherry's daughter, said in an interview that, and I can't remember how it came up. Maybe she says that Lamb Chop is a Jewish liberal, I believe. So if you were curious about Lamb Chop's political persuasion or religion,
Or potentially ethnicity.
yes,
Here
there
are-
you have it.
Here are the answers. I like that for Lamb Chop.
I think it fits. I think it
does.
works.
It does. It vibes
Yeah.
well.
It feels right. I believe they did actually have a Hanukkah special.
Oh.
Like Sherry Lewis did one, but I don't believe we watched. If we did watch it, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, but I remember very little. So,
That sounds super unfamiliar to me, though. But mom, correct us if I'm wrong, which I most likely am.
and you sure will.
Yes, send us your weekly notes.
Your weekly corrections.
I don't think she had any corrections this last time, though. It was just like your accolades.
Well, that was nice of her, but she also disagreed with me on a few points. So it was also saying that you were right.
But can we actually talk about, though, like why? I still don't know why Lamb Chop is such a big dog toy these days.
Maybe it's because millennials can mostly only afford to have pets. So, like, they're not going to make Lamb Chop stuffed animals for like human children.
It's weird to me because it seems like in the last few years that just exploded. And I'm seeing Lamb Chop everywhere in the dog toy industry. So
I
don't know what
really think
that's
that I
about.
really think that's probably
You
it.
think so?
I think
You're
so.
probably right. Okay. Write in with theories because I
Theories,
suck.
but mostly reviews.
Mostly reviews. Also, like, how do you get sponsors? Let's talk shop a little bit. How do you get
Yeah.
sponsors
Right in.
and money and help editing
And like better equipment.
and better brains?
Can somebody just do this podcast for us? You've reached Sid.
And Riley,
We can't come to the phone right now.
so leave a message after the beep. Ruining Our Childhood was filmed in front of a live studio audience
Psych. But it is produced by us, Riley and Cassidy.
with music by Joseph Tuna Medish.
You can follow us on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood Pod.
Or send us an email at ruiningourchildhoodpod@gmail.com.
Support the show through our coffee account, ko-fi.com/Ruining Our Childhood Podcast.
Later.